What you doing, readers? I'm the AC, and I'm going to talk about a book because that's what we read. Anyways, it's the first volume of the Arcana of the Crimson Ares series, Red Moon by Sein Ares. I think that's how you say the name. Typical doubt in my pronouncing skills. Anyways, before I even talk about the story and how much I enjoyed that, because of course I did. That's why I talk about stuff, because I like it. I'm going to just talk about how great all the extra info, all the extra care that went into this book at the end and even throughout. If you watch other things I talk about, I love extra stuff in books. I love illustrations, extra info, even commentary, even the thank you sections. I love all the extra stuff that supplements the actual story. And this has a lot of it, especially at the end. There's illustrations of characters, armors, even insignias. There's charts that help you just figure out the clan history and the hierarchy and all this stuff. And then that also just goes along with all the extra info, like all the history and the hierarchy. You get, descriptions of characters after their illustrations. All this stuff really helps. And the reason I'm putting this first is because there's a lot of interesting stuff that you can refer to while you're reading. And if I would have known about this while I was reading, I would have probably went back and forth just to refer. I like having a visual of what a character looks like, so these illustrations will work great for me because I'm not that creative in my own mind. Even though he does a good job describing the character in the book and providing illustrations, having this extra information, love it. It's great. But going on with that, this story takes place in, I don't know exactly how to describe it. The place is called Daedarius. And the way I kept picturing in my mind, I don't know if this is completely accurate or not, it seems like it's almost like a magical future, or maybe a magical future or parallel world where humans, as we know now, don't actually exist. It's more like these hybrids, hellbirds, demon mixed with people, possessed people. I don't know, there's not pure humans anymore. There's people with magic, and they have all these different types of magic and auras, and it's a really interesting thing. And they kind of mention it in the book of there being no more humans, so it kind of, reconfirms me thinking this. Also, I just like making up weird theories if I can anyways. If I find room to kind of think something is a little weird in my head, I just kind of roll with it. But yeah, there's a lot of information in this, a lot to take in, and stories like this is what I love, being able to dive and get lost into the story. Now, the story itself is it's unpredictable for me. It's not really it's misleading, but it also kind of is. You don't really know exactly what's to come next until it actually happens. So it's not like it's given anything to even try to predict. And this kind of goes along with the story having perspectives from different characters. So the main, who I assume is supposed to be the main character, is Elizabeth Raven. She's the head of her Raven house, her Raven clan, after her father. And then there's also Jenny Raven, who's the second in command. I assume Elizabeth is supposed to be the main character of this, but he does a good job of giving other characters a lot of time to shine, and also giving them some backstory, giving them room to grow and shine, and have a little bit of mystery to go along with them. And I love it. My favorite part of stories is character development, even though he establishes Elizabeth is supposed to be one of the best fighters and strong. When it comes to combat, he almost immediately gives her someone to rival how strong she is. Her name is Miyuki. Also cool. Kind of like a ninja-esque vibe to her. Also very powerful. And it was a big surprise to see right out of the gate. He's going to brag about how strong Elizabeth is, and just oh, here's someone to rival you. Really cool. Didn't really having a lead up to show how powerful Elizabeth is, except for like a little training session. But yeah, it was a cool way to start. Other interesting character who is going to have a lot to continue growing, continue to develop, and I assume later volumes. Leo Aquarius. He is someone that was saved by Elizabeth, like second chapter. I don't know. I'm not going to spoil too much of the story, but I do want to talk about these characters because I do think they're interesting. It kind of seems like a little wimpy guy, but he's rescued by Elizabeth. He kind of tugs on the heartstrings, the more sensitive side of Mia, and there is an area of mystery from. He's from this island that apparently everyone else hates because of history, you know. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how his character develops more than anyone else, because everyone else is already really strong. You have Elizabeth and Jenny, Mia, and then you also have another one. His name is Nicholas Esborn. Yeah, I'm sure that's how that name is said. He's the youngest from his family, but he's super strong too. He's a great fighter. You get to see combat with him, and yeah, it's all these characters getting their time to shine and develop, and it's great. And I'm really looking forward to where the second volume goes, because, you know, like I assume most first volumes do, they give you a start. They give you an introduction to these characters, and then they give you, this book in particular, gives you a great story that you're going to want to keep reading. Yeah, it was really hard to predict. At first I was thinking, like, oh, this first volume I guess is just going to dive into maybe family struggles. You see Elizabeth's uncle is trying to take power from her. I was like, oh, this might just be a bunch of conflicts, and you see, it seems like all the problems that are happening at first all seem to be from the uncle, but then it like completely turns around, and you're like, oh, here's more enemies, and they seem strong, and they are also kind of like unbelievable in their strength, but then they're like, maybe they're not that bad, and then maybe they are. There's a lot of back and forth. It's a good back and forth. It's not like it's getting dragged out. It's like it actually has purpose for there to be things to divert your expectations. It's not like a Dragon Ball where it's just nonsense combat for nothing. But talking about the combat of this book, there's a lot going on in this combat. Almost, I'm not going to say too much. There's not too much description. I love description. But, yeah, you got to pay attention. If you really want to get into it and really know what's going on, you got to pay attention to these combat scenes, because a lot can happen in no time. Which, you know, is what combat is. It's not drawn out combat. But even though their combat scenes are long, they're not boring. Combat scenes that are boring make no sense. These are not boring. There's a lot of action packed into it, and it's great. You just gotta pay attention. Otherwise you might miss something. But yeah, right? But yeah, that's kind of like what I like about it, without giving away the story. Because it's great. It has good development. It's not linear so much as you would expect. It seems like it might have a simple setup, but once all the characters start getting their own times to shine, it's just like a great multi-perspective book that could, the way I just keep expecting it to unfold, and the more I read, the more the expectations for it to unfold even more kept ramping up. So I don't know, it's like, it's when you really want the second volume to come out, and that's where I'm at with this. I'm thinking about the first, I'm describing the first, but I'm really just thinking about the potential for the second. So yeah, that's it. I'm just excited for a second volume, I guess, is where I'm going with this. There's one other interesting thing I want to just bring up, because it took me, I think I was halfway through the book until I actually realized it. Sein Ares, the pen name for the author for this book, he's also like a character deity kind of figure in this book too, which is neat. So now I get to think of it like, oh, okay, so Sein Ares is like a kind of deity overlooker of this book. So it's like he's the one, the character or deity in the book is actually writing the book. So it's kind of like a history or a tale. It's, you know, a whole lot of weird, crazy thinking in my own mind. But, you know, I like making weird things up in my mind, like I already said. Yeah, you know. But yeah, that is the first volume of Arcana of the Crimson Air, Red Moon by Sein Ares. I really recommend it. Go find it, pick it up. A lot to get invested into. It's great. But yeah, if you like what I said, go ahead and like this video. If you want to see me talk about more books and more stuff that I'm reading, go ahead and subscribe to my channel because I definitely do a lot of that. But until next time, I'm the AC. Thank you for watching and bye.